Turning to your piece, America needs patriotism. Tell us what you mean.
I mean, we hate each other. We are as divided as at any time since the Civil War. And for me, I feel a deep love for this country. That love comes from both its being my home and also from the idea. And I think we are the only country that began as an idea before it became a nation. And that idea is in the Declaration of Independence. It's in the first sentences. It's in the greatest words in political writing. And we're now having an argument about what those words mean. Every now and then, the consensus about the founding ideas gets torn up. And suddenly there are leaders who say, actually, all men are created equal, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, etc. That's not what makes us Americans. What makes us Americans, and this is what Vice President Vance has said in several speeches, is essentially how many bodies are lying in your family cemetery, how long you go back, how far you can trace your roots. And if you can't trace them 5 generations, your claim is a little bit shaky.
It's just, that's a historical.
Yeah.
I mean, our family, not that, I think they're all poor dirt farmers across the South. One of the things I love about America is we've probably been here 400 years. Today, somebody is going to raise their right hand from Pakistan in America, and they are going to say those words. And they, at that instant, will be every bit as much of an American as me, you, anyone. It's an extraordinary story, and it is the story that makes America great.
And I feel it's up for grabs now because our leaders are acting and speaking as if that's not true, as if that Pakistani had better behave himself, even after he takes the oath. Because we want gratitude from him. And if he doesn't show the proper level of gratitude, this is what the vice president said in June in a speech in California, then there's a sort of suspicion hanging over him. Well, what are you doing here? So what if you believe in our founding ideas? Why should we allow that to be the basis for citizenship? When in fact that Pakistani may know more about the Declaration and the Constitution than a lot of people who have many generations.
Probably does.
Because he had to study for it. But to me, right now, being a patriot is a challenge because I see in so many ways the founding ideas being threatened, even defiled. I wrote in the piece that it's like attending the trial of a loved one. And every day you are hearing this disturbing evidence of some horrendous crime that they're accused of, and you're still trying to believe in them and exchange a look before the day in court starts. And you're not going to abandon them because they're your loved one. But on the other hand, you keep hearing things that are making you wonder, is this person a decent person? And so I have some fears for our country. We've talked about it on this program before, that it's not guaranteed that those founding ideas are going to remain the guide for America's future. We should understand that we can lose it and that we have to reaffirm it over and over again, partly by figuring out how to talk to each other across this huge chasm.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are trying to figure out in these times what it means to be patriotic and to push back in a way. We had, during the first Trump administration, you saw people in the streets, the resistance movement and all that. Now people say, oh, Donald Trump was elected again. How do I grapple with that? What is the appropriate way to get involved? People who oppose him. You said at the top, we hate each other. I think political leaders, some of them want us to think we hate each other. I think social media algorithms divide us for profit.
Yes.
So I don't think we do actually hate each other. If you go to a soccer game or a meeting at a Lions club or you just hang out with your family, we disagree on things. But if you actually get face to face, I don't think we actually do hate each other.
Face to face is the key. I think when there's a human being in front of you, there's just an instinct to find a way to carry on the conversation and maybe to avoid certain topics. But I do think in our politics and in our media, which does affect ordinary people, it's not as though they're living their lives completely separate from what's on social media, what's on cable news. It's close to boiling point. So, and the left and the right both bear a burden here. I mean, the right has elements of the right that are very close to the Trump administration. And I recommend a new book called Furious Minds by Laura Field, which is about the minds of the right. They have given up on liberal democracy. They think it's failed. And they have varieties of monarchism, of autocracy, of what's called integralism, which is essentially religious rule, that they want to replace it with. And on the left, there's been decades of hacking away at liberal democracy as a good thing, finding all the things wrong with it, all the things that we do wrong.
I was just going to have you circle back. I don't remember explicitly what your article was in The Atlantic, but you were talking about the runaway wokeism in New York.
It was about
schools.
My children's education.
Your children's education.
Yeah.
I've heard Willie talk about it. I've heard other friends talk about it. And it seems to me when you're talking about some people on the right who again, don't buy in to the promise, Jefferson's promise. It reminded me that you wrote an article that some people on the left wanted to remind anybody every step of the way how invalid that promise was and what a lie it was, and that the United States was set up for slaveholders, or the United States was set up for the rich, or the United States was not set up for that idea that you and I believe it was set up for.
Yeah, that article got me into a bit of trouble, I think.
Of course, that's good.
For about 48 hours.
That's called good trouble. John Lewis would call that good trouble.
I was hated on Twitter. Yeah.
For only 48 hours.
Well, Twitter, like that goldfish you mentioned off the air, has that attention span.
Yeah.
Yes, because I was living it as a father. Right. I was seeing that certain New York public schools were moving very rapidly toward a kind of ideological education. And that was, I think I was a little ahead of that curve, because things then became clear in places all around the country. And now we've had this huge undemocratic backlash with the federal government trying to tell private universities what they can and can't teach.
It's important, though, to go back to where you were, to remember where a lot of those schools were, and go back and when explaining why was there this overreaction, this illiberal, dangerous overreaction. It's not like people were just sitting there dreaming this up. I will say, Mika and I, and we talked about it all the time. One summer, maybe it was 21 or 22, there wasn't a single dinner that we had over the summer where some parent didn't come in, a parent who had never voted for a Republican in their life. I think I was the only person who had voted for Republican presidents. They all said the same thing. My daughter's at UVA. My daughter's at Stanford. My son's so-and-so. He will not raise his hand in class, because if he says the wrong thing, just in a debate, he or she are canceled, and it's the end of their college career.
And that was real.
That was real.
But as Willie said about us not hating each other, I think most parents can accept an education in which all the wrongs and horrors of this country are part of a curriculum that also talks about what's right, and about that Pakistani raising his hand, and about the founding ideas. But it's ideologues who benefited both for money and power have driven education, as with everything else, into these corners, these false corners where it's either one or the other. It's either all 1619 or it's all 1776. When it makes no sense at all, and most parents know that.
George's new piece, part of The Atlantic's special 150-page edition on the unfinished revolution, is on sale online now. Staff writer George Packer, thank you so much for coming on this morning. Great conversation.
George, thank you.